All right, and we're back with the final 10. I'm excited, but I'm also worried because we've seen a lot of people who should have been higher put much lower. So if this top 10 doesn't fucking have a lot of really good characters, I'm gonna be fucking livid. So top 10, number 10, Dot Branning.
Okay, fair enough.
Obviously played by June Brown from 85 to 93. Had a 4-year gap, and then 97 all the way to 2020. Yeah, Dot, you can't have a top 10 without Dot in it. She is one of the most iconic Eastenders ever. Didn't always have the largest of storylines, but they'd always find a way to somehow, they'd always find a way to make Dot do something you'd never expect. Like the time Dot went to prison for Nick's death, what the fuck? She's in prison? That's Dot. She can't do that. Did a lot of great comedy stuff, introduced a lot of characters, helped, rehab a lot of characters' image. And was just proven to be one of the sweetest, one of the sweetest characters on the show. And obviously, arguably one of my favourite dynamics is just the dynamic between her and Nick. Because you just have this thing where there's this underlying thing where Nick, he's a villain, he's a prick. He'll fuck anybody over. But he just can't do it to Dot. And that's what I love. I love that one so much. Where it's time to kill Dot again. I can't do it. I can't. So there's that deep love there. And it's always nice to see that the actors got along really well in real life. And it's just wholesome. It's one of my favourite twisted relationships in soap. Here we are.
I do love Dot. She deserves to be in the top 10, of course. No doubting this. Most people in this top 10 probably deserve to be in it. Unless it's fucking I'm trying to think of a shit character. Hold on.
Heather.
Heather. Heather's number 1. Or Barry. But most characters on this list deserve to be in the top 10. Hopefully Dennis number 1.
I'm slightly worried that Ethel's not going to be here.
Yeah, but it better be Ethel and her Willie, and not just Ethel, because you cannot leave Willie out of this. That Willie was a big part of her. But
some of the more iconic classic characters haven't been there's been no Pete Beale, which was great.
There's been no Nick Cotton.
Exactly.
But Dot is one of my absolute faves. You can't hate Dot, and just for all time's sakes, I say,
Yeah, and I'll just read the little comment. One of British TV's most recognisable characters, chain-smoking laundrette queen Dot, started out as a prejudiced hypochondriac who would quote Bible passages as you collected your service wash. Not one to pry, she was also a shameless gossip. But seeing her cope with scumbag Nick endeared her audiences every time we heard the words, "Hello, Ma." We knew that Dot was due more heartache. Helping to end the suffering of her best mate Ethel left poor Dot tormented. But her late-in-life marriage to Jim Branning gave her some happiness, a true national treasure. Oh, yeah, entirely.
I just also want to say on that, I don't know if it's an actual skit that's on the Harry Hill show, or it's an actual skit that involved Dot Branning, but there's a skit where fucking Mr. Blobby breaks into Dot Branning's house and scares the shit out of Dot Branning, and then Harry Hill runs in with a frying pan and just beats the shit out of her. I don't know if it's an actual comedy sketch, it's a part of what's the word I'm looking for? A part of the children in need, the one with
probably
the teddy bear.
Just Harry Hill, honestly.
Or it's just a Harry Hill's TV part. I fucking love it. He comes, Mr. Blobby comes in, he starts wrecking the house, he's throwing everything around, and Dot's just in the corner no, and then Harry Hill runs in with a frying pan, just
yeah, alright. Sound.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. Number 9, Michelle Fowler.
Which one?
Not the fucking redo.
Because they have to address it.
They've not even counted the redo of Michelle Fowler. Obviously played by Susan Tully in 85 to 95. Then recast and fucking shit on for a good 2 years in like 2016 to 2018. But us, like a lot of other people, we just don't count that Michelle Fowler because it wasted one of the truly best and most iconic characters on the show. Michelle Fowler is so fucking good because she embodied like the fucking she wanted big things, but ultimately she just kind of bit off more than she could chew, being fucking like having a child with Den. And obviously that was a big reveal back in the day. It was the last thing that original Mark Fowler did, was he kind of knew like, oh, it's Den's kid, isn't it, you fucker? Obviously he didn't actually reveal it. I'm still sad about the actual original Mark Fowler thing, but I'm never releasing that video because I still need to work on the other part of it. But it's still a tragic story.
Yeah. Just to give it short, if you're wondering what happened to Richard Mark, it's not that fame got to his head. It's just a lot of people.
Well, it's just he was continually scrutinized in the media the entire time, and wasn't really cut out to handle that sort of criticism.
And then all I'll say is that Cliff was involved.
He refused, but he was supposed to. Julia Smith wanted him to be a racist, and he went, "Not fucking doing that." And there's a really like good clip where the actor who played Calvin was genuinely like, "I've never happened to me at that point before." You know, someone to put their their job on the line to say, "I'm not going to be racist on screen." It's just very wholesome. There was a documentary called My Brother. Was it Mark? It was like my brother David. It's a good documentary where it kind of goes into a lot of the issue you face, but it's still an absolute tragic tale. But yeah, he ended up dead at the bottom of a cliff. 2 years after, in 88, which is absolutely criminal. The tabloids exploited him completely.
But Michelle Fowler,
but yeah, it's just it's important to know because I don't think a lot of people know that story as such. And I was going to make a big video on it, but I also needed to do a bit more research to fully wrap it around. But yeah, obviously this resulted in Michelle getting a lot more storylines in the first year because a lot of the storylines that were supposed to go to Mark, obviously Mark left and the show went, "You're not going to be a regular ever again." Sound. So obviously a lot of the storylines were moved around. Ian got more storylines, Kelvin got more storylines, and Michelle most notably got the most like extra stuff, which endeared her to a lot of us, because she just, I don't know, she's just really likable. She just wants more out of life. She doesn't want to be fucking stuck in this shithole bit of London. Not really the trajectory that we thought she would have got. But she wanted a better life for her, and that's admirable. And I just love her. She's just such a good character, and she is probably the one who stole the show most out of 95 for sure, in my estimation. Just love the character. Definitely deserves to be in the top 10. It's an absolute criminal shame that she's never gonna be able to be like redone because the original actress isn't going to come back.
She might if the money's right.
Probably not.
But Michelle is a great character. Haven't seen much of it. Only seen some of 85 of her. And I've seen the clip of like her and Dan, where fucking what's his name? Rolly gets out of the car, so you think, oh, Rolly's the dad. Then it's Dan. But yeah, she was a great character. Let's go on to number 8. Or have you read the description?
I haven't read the description yet. It just says, in the show's first year, a teenage Michelle announced her pregnancy to a disappointed Arthur and Pauline. Michelle's refusal to name the baby daddy caused a huge stir, and viewers learned it was Den Watts long before Pauline or Sharon ever did. Michelle was an unshowy character who also quietly determined to achieve a better life for herself and daughter Vicky. Her weakness for Queen Vic landlords would later lead to another paternity secret when she became pregnant following a one-night stand with Grant Mitchell. Why is he fleeing to America? stayed away for years before coming back with a new head. The less spoken about the new head, the better. I might genuinely believe that that's the worst recast in soap history. Like, it's just garbage. Did we ever make a video about that? I think we did. I think we just phrased it. It's not like, we definitely did. But I don't think it was specifically Michelle Fowler's recast is the worst cast ever. It's just like, what's the worst recast? 20 minutes of bashing new Michelle Fowler. Number 8, Angie. Definitely deserves to be here. There's a reason why Den and Angie both left. Basically, Den and Angie left. Lofty, I'm pretty sure Lofty left around the same time as well. Mostly because these 3 characters were 3 of the bigger characters on the show. Lofty not so much, but still garnered so much public attention that basically the reason why EastEnders, why they got a bit scared in 88 and 89 is because the fucking Angie wanted to leave, Anita Dobson wanted to leave, Den wanted to leave, and Lofty wanted to leave, and they're like, the fuck, what are we gonna do? We can't have all of them leave. But obviously Angie's like formative storylines is being like the fucking showy face of the Queen Vic, a couple of affairs, because ultimately it was probably one of the more tragic relationships on the show where Angie loves Den. But Den did not he did not love Angie. Den was with Angie because of the status, because of the position, and because it looked better than being alone. And it's a really tragic relationship, but they had such good chemistry together, despite being a loveless marriage, and Anita Dobson played it fantastically, and Angie Watts is great.
And let's not forget that, as she did, anyone can fall in love. That's not hard to do. Do. Anyone can fall in love. You get the gist by now. So let me say my thoughts on Angie Watts. She was good. Thanks for letting me sing that. She was good. I love Angie. Like, you can't hate her. She was killed off screen, wasn't she?
I'd imagine so. I can't imagine Anita Dobson wanted to come back at any point.
Yeah, so it's a shame that Anita Dobson didn't want to come back. Would have liked to see what Angie would have looked like in the 2000s, like if she wanted to return.
She died in 2002, but this was all on screen.
So it would have been interesting to see what Angie... Anita Dobson's still alive, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, so it would have been interesting to see what she would have looked like in the 2000s, how she would have fitted into that. I don't know how she would have, but it would have been like interesting.
Yeah, I think it was funny to think that fucking the one line I love in Den's return is when he sees that Den was buried next to Angie or some shit, and he's like, "Jeez, who the fuck would do that? Who's playing a joke on me?" You know, where you just have that like. I think there was love there between them. It was never like, I want to rip your clothes off. It was just, you allow me to live the way I want to live. Yeah, Angie definitely deserves to be here. And it's one of the most famous stars. And obviously, Christmas Day 96, not 96, 86. 30.1 million viewers for that episode of EastEnders. Still the peak. Still definitely the peak. But yeah, fair enough. Right, who's next? I suppose I'll read it. The original Walford drama queen, Angie did it all during her 3 years on the show. Neurotic and self-destructive, she was a force of nature whose big hair was matched by the scale of her emotional outbursts. Ange put on one hell of a show behind the Queen Vic bar, and her flirty banter made her popular with the punters, especially the men. But the one man she desperately needed to pay her some attention just wasn't that interested. Angie's doomed marriage to Den powered Enders to huge heights in the early days, and her alcoholism was truly painful to watch. Yeah, that's a good recap of it, honestly. Wow. Number 7. Phil Mitchell. What?
Fuck, I thought he'd be
What?
top 3. There you're getting
Jesus.
fucking shafted.
Obviously played by Steve McFadden from 1990 to 2003, left for 2 years and then came back in 2005 and then carried on. They said he survived prison, shootings, addictions, beatings, car crash and numerous attempts to topple him from his perch, but Phil always bounces back. Ruthless and violent and controlling, he demands total loyalty from his family. Anything less than his face turns red and his voice gets even growlier. He's had feuds with plenty of pretenders to his throne, but for now Phil remains king of the castle. Phil destroys every romantic relationship he ever has, and no woman will ever live up to his dear departed mum. That's a pretty good reading of it. Phil definitely deserves to be higher than number 7. Phil's definitely in the top 5 for me, even if his character through time has just become a lot more one note and a lot more two-dimensional. Because through time he has just gotten more shouty and less like nuanced, where like even just like watching like older Christmas episodes, you can see why Phil was so loved, because there was genuine depth there. Phil's a man who's, I mean, he's also been fairly unlucky in love, He's like, this time I'll do it right, this time it'll be fine. All right, they'll love me, and then he just goes, why the fuck do they keep wanting to change me? They know what they're in for. Like, he's just self-defeating. Obviously, has multiple stints with alcoholism, and Phil and Louise, his constant relationships through the years. Like, it's never really gone right for Phil, and it's just been a life paved with tragedy. There's one thing that probably slightly ruins Phil for me. It's the fact that over the last 10 years, he kind of just became very one note and very just. He lost a lot of the depth that he had and had shown many years before, which kind of took away for it. But, it still deserves to be at least top 5 for me.
I love Phil Mitchell. Like, you can't hate Phil Mitchell if you're an Eastenders watcher and enjoyer. Get that fucking catchphrase in there again. Get the fucking catchphrase in whenever you can. Like, he's an icon. He's an icon of the show. Obviously,
he's also helped out the show in its worst time.
Also, we cannot forget to mention the best Phil Mitchell moment, which is him and what's her name? Not Ronnie. Anyways, where he's singing the fairy tale of New York. Rainy. Yeah, where he's singing the bells are ringing out for Christmas Day.
I just think that he has so much depth as a character, and he's done so much. He's done so much like good serious acting. He can nail the comedy whenever he needs to. Like, Drunk Phil is still iconic and hilarious. Like, there's so many layers. He had that story where he was on crack for a little bit, and he just fully where he sets the pub on fire. He's been a villain. He's been a hero. He's been good. He's been bad. He's played literally everything he possibly could. It's a shame that obviously it seems like the actor wants to kind of not be as at the forefront with a lot of this stuff. That's why he's been a lot more absent over the last few years. And it's fair enough, because he is getting on now. Like, he has genuinely been playing Phil for, 30 years now?
Yeah, 30 odd years.
So it is a big shame. But, fundamentally, he is still one of the best Eastenders characters has ever produced. And there's no surprise that they really haven't given him much of a break over the years.
Obviously, he is a great addition to the show. If I could, I would make Phil not a good guy or a villain, but kind of an anti-hero, where you want to root for him, but you also don't want to. He kind of has been that over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he's an iconic man. Like, I can't, like, if I ever met Steve McFadden, there's not many people where I'd fanboy over, but if I absolutely met Steve McFadden, I'd go peek at the knees. Just like all the women that he slept with, like, exactly. In the show. Like, he's like, he seems like such a gentleman in real life as well, where you don't want to upset him, but you want to have a few points with him. And he's going, man, do you remember that one time on EastEnders where I fucking fought then? Yeah, Leslie Grantham did not like me throwing a shoe punch at him. I tell you what, brother. And you're like, oh, Phil, what are you like, bro? What are you like? You just wanna get him in and just start doing that nuggy to the head, like, and go, come here. Oh, he's just a gentleman. Oh, yeah, sorry, that's me fanboying over Phil.
The post says he survived prison, shootings, addictions, beatings, car crash, and numerous attempts to topple him from the perch. Oh, wait, I already read this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phil, iconic, deserves to be there. Probably definitely top 5 for me, maybe even higher. So it'll be wild to see what's like next. And I'm not even showing it to me. This is all like news. So number 6, Kat Slater.
Ooh.
I don't hate it. Kat Slater is another tragic character where she's not at the fucking best life. Obviously abused at a young age, had to grow up. She didn't become a little bit of a slag. She became a total slag.
Sorry, I want to do that. Can I do that? I didn't just become a total slag. I didn't just become a slag. I became a total slag. One of my favorite quotes. Yeah, Cat or Phil. Recency bias, probably. Recency bias. But yeah.
Waiting if I have to get the fucking parcel or not. Here we are.
I'll continue on. Even if you have to get the parcel, I will rant for the next 5 minutes. Did you pause it? But Kat Slater is a great character. Like she deserves the world, but Phil is wrong. But Kat has delivered so many things, like "You're not my mother." Yes, I am. Obviously that's become one of the most iconic things she's done. She obviously went and left for, what the fuck was that show she left with? What was that show she left for? Give me a second, folks. Redwater. She obviously left for Redwater, and yeah, that was, I haven't seen it, but apparently it was unsuccessful. So yeah, not many things to say about Kat. Just remember she was a good character, and you cannot make another Kat Slater. She is too iconic in my opinion. She's not a slag, she's a total slag. I've already said that. She helps.
Alright, parcel collected.
Welcome back. Did you pause it, or was I just riffing there? On. Oh, I was on. Okay, good. I was riffing. I was trying to riff, and I was like, if he has fucking me on pause, I'm gonna be like, you bollocks. I
was waiting for you to be like, yeah, I got it, and then I was like, okay, and then you're like, oh, I didn't speak. Sound.
No, I tried my best. I might have repeated some things, but I tried my best. But there's not much I can say about Kat Slater, because she's too. I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again when you're here. She's too iconic to replace, and she's too iconic to recreate.
Yes.
If you let's just say something bad happened to the actress who played Kat Slater. Let's just say she had a heart attack and she died. The actress who plays her. Now, I don't want this to happen, but let's just say hypothetically something very bad happened to her. I think her name's Jessie Wallace. Yes. I want to say. Say something bad happened to Jessie Wallace, that she can't play Kat anymore. You cannot get a lineup of victims going, you can play her. You can play her. You can't play her. You can play her.
Yeah.
She's too. You can't recast her.
You couldn't replace Phil Mitchell with anyone else. You couldn't replace Alfie with anyone else. And the amount of lines that she's had, where it's just fucking. There's something like, you ain't my mother. Yes I am. That's fucking. Everybody knows that one. I didn't become a little bit of a slag. I became a total slag. She's got all the lines. She always does best. She's like the wisecracking. She embodies the Slaters as a character. And there was a time where I didn't like Kat, but I do genuinely I'm excited for the show with Kat there. I don't want her to leave as much as she gets annoying sometimes, but fundamentally as a character, she's like earned her place on the show for however long the actress is willing to be there, and she deserves to be in top 10 at least.
Can I just suggest it? Can we review Redwater?
Oh Jesus! Oh boy!
I think that's lost media. I can't find it anywhere online. Like I genuinely think that might be lost media.
It's got to be out there somewhere. Yeah, I'll read through it. Someone says, one of the most complex creations also obviously has the Alfie and Kat fucking love story where she's had a shit life till now and she's trying to make the best of it, trying to make the most of it. And
just have to mention it because of Christmas 2018, obviously had that moment with Alfie where you think everything was alright and then fucking Alfie breaks her heart again and blames her for being raped when she was a child. And then...
blames her for being sexually abused by her uncle. Yeah. Which is the hardest part of her life. And has completely fucked her entirely for the rest of her life.
And then, of course, I get my favourite line where you think Alfie's like, throughout the years, like, yeah, I love the Slater women. And then in 2018, he's like, fuck you, Slater women, you're all
Slater
shit.
Women, I hate you all. But yeah, like that amazing love story where the chemistry is ridiculous. The funny moment, the episode where Alfie's like needs a condom and he has to like race through Walford to try and fucking find one, and then he loses it, and then he gets in, and then fucking Kat's asleep, and he's like, fucking hell. It was just great. It was just truly a great creation. Even a comeback in like 2010 or 2011. And then we have who slept with Kat, and it's fucking Derek Branning, the most disgusting, fucking greasy, the fat older brother of Jack and Max. He fucking lights up the smoke and it's like, why would you sleep with that? Then obviously the stuff with Michael Moon. It's just really good stuff. Cat deserves to be up here for sure. Did I read no, I didn't. One of the most complex creations that ever hit the square. Cat is a combustible combination of vulnerability, strength, warmth, and attitude. Standing out as the loudest of the Slater sisters, no mean feat since she made an impression. Her leopard print wearing, all night partying, sarcastic, good time girl persona masked a very dark secret though. The 2001 reveal that baby sister Zoe was actually Kat's daughter through sexual abuse by her uncle Harry is still one of the biggest EastEnders shocks of all time. An all-time powerhouse of a character.
Yeah.
Number 5. Poor Pat Butcher.
Ooh.
Obviously played by Pam St. Clement from 1986 to 2012, where she died. Pat is... I love Pat so much. Pat is everybody's fucking had a shit life nan who will love you and will care for you, but isn't gonna pull her fucking punches if you've been shit. Pat is... I just love Pat so much. I want to watch more of young Pat. Well, I say young Pat, like 50-year-old Pat. You know, I really want to see, and obviously she had the fucking famous, like, when Peggy dies, she came back, and it's like, yes, this is beautiful. This is the fantastic way. Her death always fucks me up. Like, I piss tears out when I'm watching Pat. No, God damn it, no, Pat, no.
See, it's just, for me, it's the Peggy Mitchell where, again, they're just, even though Pat's not there, even though she is there in real life, it's like, you can tell that Barbara Windsor, even though she was slowly losing her mind, that was a bit harsh, but you understand what I mean. Even though she was going through changes, she still had a crack and a laugh with Pat, the person who played Pat Butcher. Like, that's why I love Pat Butcher. She seems, again, like what I mentioned with Steve McFadden, where you could love to sit down and have a conversation with them, and she tells her stories from the past. Like, she tells you this one funny story where Frank Butcher actually was in his nude, and he wasn't wearing Speedos. And you're like, wait a bit, what? And she's like, yeah, I've seen his cock. And I was like, shit.
I mean,
Fair
also
play.
just Pam St. Clement as well, just fucking icon.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Also, just openly bisexual as well, and did a lot.
Wait,
For
the actress
fucking
or the character?
the actress.
Oh,
Obviously, did a lot of did a lot of good for like campaigning for fucking just just gay rights. And just as a whole, just she's iconic. The earrings are a fucking piece of like fucking like culture. Pat always had her fucking earrings, and she left the show. What's my biography called? End of an earring. It's like, delicious. It's just Pat definitely deserves to be. She is top 5 all time. She's got so many famous moments, whether it's the like torrid relationship with Frank, the fucking back and forth. Obviously her crying in the rain, and Frank's like, "I love you," just fucking as he like drives off and he leaves again. The fucking fantastic relationship with Janine, where obviously Janine's not her daughter, but she views her as it, but she hates her, but she still loves her really deep down. And like, I was a massive Janine fan. The bulk of like, she was probably my favorite character for the bulk of the time I've been watching EastEnders. And just that dynamic where like Pat didn't have to die in 2012. She could have been here much longer. She's still alive now. Like, she could have fucking, I think. Yeah, she could have been in it much longer. If she wanted to, I think. But I think just the producer said, fuck you. It was a massive shame, but I just really... I derailed myself by thinking about this stuff, but yeah, that Janine Pat, when obviously Janine has to see her before she dies, where they both just like go, "Look, you won't mind, but I loved you as a daughter," and it's this final like, it's just beautiful. And yeah, obviously when she returns with the Peggy stuff, that's just, it wouldn't have been the same otherwise. It makes me cry every time as well. It's every single time. It's just a shame that she didn't get to... Pat was never lucky in love either. Like, she never got to be happy. I would have loved if she had like a long-term like husband. Basically, I'm not saying they could have done... It wouldn't have worked with Pat because she's never really... She always had flings, but she never really had passionate loves, and I don't think anybody was ever replacing Frank in terms of love. But it would have been fun to have her, like, from 2010 onwards, like, find a man and they settle down, and have like a fucking Jack and Vera. Like, I'm gonna slag you off the whole time, and I'm gonna act like I don't love you, but I wouldn't want to be doing it with anybody else. I wouldn't want to be here with anybody else. But yeah, it's a criminal shame. But I just. Yeah, I miss her. I still miss Pat. It's been 11 years. I still miss her. Oh, fucking love Pat. It's fantastic. And just a true class act. Says introduces Pete as Pete Beale's ex-wife. Pat was a woman with a past, an ex-prostitute who immediately caused trouble by claiming Pete wasn't actually Simon's father. Her take no prisoners attitude mellowed over the years, and Pat really came to her own when she married Frank and took over the Vic. Playing stepmom to Frank's kids gave her a chance to start again, but heartbreak was always around the corner. Her commitment to blue eyeshadow, leopard print, massive earring and cigarettes, and her constant clashes with Peggy were legendary.
And of course, they got drunk in an ice cream van.
And high. There's just so many classic things where you can imagine Pat being there, and it's just no one's really taken up the mantle. Like, no one's come close. Like, they always try bring older characters on the show, but like, because you've killed off so many of these characters, you don't have the history, you don't have the love. Because soaps are fantastic because you grow up with these characters, right? You know, like that guy growing up with Fat Boy, right? Fat Boy, he clearly loves him. He's grown up with him, so he misses him completely. And like, you know, time's passed. Like, I've spent the last fucking several years. What character do I love currently? Oh Jesus, I don't even know. I don't even know. But you know, you grow up with these characters and you spend time with them. So when bad shit happens to them, fundamentally, you're like, no, what the fuck? You know, that can't happen. And it's just the progression where you slowly just have more and more love for these characters, and fortunately have to die. Still miss Pat. Number 4. Janine Butcher. I respect it.
Respect the hustle king.
People probably wouldn't like it as much as of the recent stint because, you know, the exit wasn't very good and she's gone for another 5 years. But Janine is, you know, Cindy was gone, so somebody had to be the soap bitch. Alright? But then you have Janine with this really complex, like, fucking... She's got immense daddy issues because Frank fucking left her so many times. Like, she's really fucked up by Frank leaving her. And so it just becomes this absolute fucking mental fuck you. Became the soap bitch, you know? Murdered Barry, unfortunately. Murdered Michael Moon. Technically killed Mick. Like... Also, a bunch of the iconic lines, like when she's marrying the like Jewish millionaire, and in the Jewish wedding, and then Pat arrives and just, she's about as Jewish as a bacon sandwich, and then everybody's like, oh. It's famous. Also, just had Ricky kind of being there. He still loves her, still wants to help her, but he's still a fucking idiot. Like. You know,
I love the reason I love recent Janine is because I love Scarlett. Because whenever Janine would fuck up, like so, say Janine spilled orange juice on the floor, she'd be like, Scarlett has mental health issues. She's the reason I spilled orange juice on the floor.
But yeah, it's obviously. I mean, Janine was a recast, right? Like Charlie Brooks wasn't always playing Janine. And it's fucking wild, but she definitely made the character her own. It's a shame that she doesn't do much longer stints anymore. Like, she definitely, like, you know, after that 2008 to 2012, she came back in 2013, 2014, and then came back in 2021 to 22. I just hope that once she comes out of prison, I hope she has a proper long stint back on the show. And I would just like them to just keep the character. Because, you know, there's a lot of really cool stuff that doesn't fucking... Like, I don't know, I just wish that I hope they do more with her because she deserves all that time. I hope that eventually she says, fuck it, I'll come down for a longer stint, and then we can have more time with Janine to kind of reestablish who she is, who that character is, and what she brings to the show, which is just being unapologetically a fucking bitch. And it's not like a bad term, you know? Like, that's who she is, and she doesn't give a fuck. It's great. Also, probably I would probably have Janine as one of my favorites of all time. Like, I would be up there. If fucking Phil's not up here, Ben's nowhere to be seen. Like, Janine's probably top one for me, honestly.
But my thoughts on Janine is I just love Janine as well. Obviously, was it Christmas 2000 we watched where she had daddy issues? And she was like, yeah, my dad is a lovely man. And then she goes into the pub.
Peggy's had the worst Christmas of her life. Nobody turned up. Nobody sat with her. She's alone on Christmas Day. No man. No fucking... Grant's gone. She's stuck with Mel for a bit. And then Janine just goes, "Oh, no wonder Frank fucking left if she was with you, fucking prick." It just
Get out of my
starts
hob.
digging in that fucking knife. Ah, it's lovely
Can
stuff.
can,
Fantastic.
have you read the description?
Not just yet. Her daddy didn't love her enough, and everybody's paid the price ever since. Starting off as teenage troublemaker who caused grief for Frank and Peggy, Janine became a manipulative cow who would trample over anyone to get her own way. She had the morals of an alley cat and the cunning of a rattlesnake, clawing her way back whenever she ended up in the gutter. Obsessed with money, the Black Widow bumped off several husbands to get hands on their cash. Janine's long-running feud with her stepmom, Pat, was glorious, but her finest moment when she pushed Barry off the cliff and later mournfully wailed, "If only he'd worn slip-on shoes." What a line. Just involved in so much good stuff over the years. And like so many iconic feuds. One with Stacey was grand. I just love Janine.
Before we get to the top three, just give me a second. I need to do something quickly.
All right.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Just before we get to the top three, can we take guesses?
Well, I already know number 3 is because I've seen.
Okay.
It. But well, because I'm 90% sure that Sharon's gonna be in top 3. Like I'm like 99% sure she's gonna be at least top 3. And I'll just tease it. Obviously, 3 is Peggy. I don't know who number 2 would be though. That's my thing. So I feel like
Mick Carter.
or Den's got to be in here.
Den's got to be number 1.
You never know, mate.
You've seen the list, haven't you?
I've seen number 1. I got to admit.
Yeah, you fucker. You've spoiled who number 2 is.
Well, I mean, I don't know who number 2 is, but so Peggy. And then yeah, probably Den. It's got to be Den, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck number 2 is. Number 3 is Peggy Mitchell. I mean, yeah, Peggy is the quintessential East End matriarch. She been involved in so much high profile stuff, the stuff with Frank, the stuff with Archie, like also raising a fucking massive like a generation of the Mitchells who honestly carried the show for that like 2008 period onwards. Like they were key in keeping it interesting and exciting. Obviously probably the most iconic death on the show. I'd argue there's a lot of contenders, like Ethel's death is up there, you know, like, I mean, Barry, even if it's funny, it's still kind of up there as like a, what the fuck? But Peggy was just true class, and, you know, imagine how fucking shit it would have been if Peggy wouldn't have gotten that death on screen. You got to see her interact with the old and the new, like, but, you know, she'd also be like, oh, fuck yeah, Pat's got it, isn't she? It's shit, this. Like, you know, got to interact with Mick, who was now, like, the key fucking landlord and been the landlord of the Vic for years, interact with Linda. You know, like, her return in, 2016, I think?
Yeah,
is
2016.
phenomenal. And it's what I think all of these iconic characters, like, final, like, years should be. And it brought Grant back, you know, had all the Mitchells. I mean, to be fair, Peggy's death was probably the downfall of the Mitchells, really, because it didn't really go too well after that one. You know, Peggy, Ronnie and Roxy, like, what, a year or two after. Like, it was fantastic stuff. And I'm surprised Peggy didn't get higher. Honestly, in terms of who I believe is probably the best, I could easily put Peggy as number one, personally. The amount of stuff she did, and who, like, I don't know. I could easily put Peggy as number one. I think number 3 is too low.
I'd have her be number 2.
What do you reckon? Go on.
Nick.
No, I mean like the bit on Peggy.
Oh, I love Peggy. Her death is how I want to go personally. It's just you imagine your best friend is sat in the chair, and you're talking to them, and they're like, "Oh." It's like I even feel sorry for Barbara Windsor because like I don't even care about the original Peggy Mitchell. She is the Peggy Mitchell,
Exactly.
but Barbara Windsor, the end of her life was rough from what I've heard, and I'm just so sad that
it was
beloved,
a very rough way to go.
I'm just sad a beloved character like that in real life was given shit at the end. She should have been given flowers, not a box of shit. But about Peggy, I just love the death. The death is just fucking tearing up already. It just whenever I see it, it makes me so sad because no one can do that to you. No one, what's the word? Because if you do that, so like if I was dying like Ethel and I went, can you kill me? You'd be arrested. So that's what you have to do with yourself. Even though I think contractually there should be a law saying that if you die, someone's allowed to kill you. If you write it down, like you should be allowed to die. They should be allowed to grant you your last wish. But about Peggy, I love her. I've no more words to describe about her because she's just a lovely, kind-hearted soul. I wish Barbara Windsor was still here with us, but she's sadly gone. She will be missed, and I just want to know more about her life because she's so iconic. And she seemed like a sweetheart in real
anybody
life.
deserves like one of those really interesting like movie biopic type fucking things, Barbara Windsor could probably absolutely deserve one of them. Yeah, and I'll read the bit all together now. Get out of my pub. Pint-sized scrapper, Peggy was proper East End, an old-school landlady who could handle herself in most situations. Fiercely protective of her family, she was often blinkered when it came to her sons. Although she was fiery, she had a vulnerable side and would hold her head high while crying on the inside. A breast cancer diagnosis showed that she wasn't invincible, and a marriage to Frank brought more grief. Frank's affair with Pat was revealed in glorious style to Pat Queen Vic up by Peggy on Bonfire Night 2000 for a slap for each guilty party. Yeah, it's just class. It's just full class, just entirely. Number 2, Den Watts.
What? What? No, you're lying.
No, it's number 2 is Den Watts.
How the fuck is he number 2? He should be number 1.
And Den is, I mean, he was pretty much the main character, right? He was the star that was catapulted into the fucking stratosphere when EastEnders obviously became a prominent soap in in 85. Became the soap's biggest star because there was a lot of charm with Den. Obviously, you know, he became dirty later on, both in real life and normally. But he was the first character you saw. He was the first character that spoke. He got the first duff. Like, he truly was elevated by the show. And, you know, jaded past as a whole doesn't fucking matter because he was probably... I mean, my best EastEnder is either Den or Peggy, honestly. Not my favourite. I love them, but in terms of, like, character influence and, like, how important they were to the show... Like, they have to be top 2, no matter what, no matter who's making it. Like, it's truly... Just, Den did so much dodgy shit. But he had this charm. He had this, like, fucking roguish charm where you're like, oh, Den, you're such a piece of shit, but I just love you, Den. I just love you. I just can't stop. And obviously, he left he died in 89 and then came back in 2003. And even his return, like, yeah, everybody thinks of it as like, oh yeah, that's the fucking finger in the mouth, But like fundamentally, his return was really good. It was incredible stuff. Like, you had this really interesting like duality as you have Den and the son he never wanted, and Dennis was this really fucked up character where, he just wanted a dad. That's all he wanted. He had a shit life. He wanted a dad. But Den never fucking wanted a son. So he then has to deal with this dynamic where he's now got a son he didn't want. He's got Vicky, who he doesn't fucking care about. And he's got Sharon, who is, Sharon is if Sharon's the princess, Den is the king. And that's his entire world. And then obviously you slowly see all of the fucking woman he's scorned. Like, if Angie was still there, Angie would have been fucking involved in his death for sure. But obviously she died. But obviously, yeah, the fucking divorce papers on Christmas Day, 86. And he's who you, like, yeah, sure, Mick Carter spent 10 years as landlord of the Queen Vic. But in 10 years, Danny Dyer couldn't replicate what fucking Leslie Grantham did in how much swagger and fucking just confidence and charm that Dirty Den had.
If I can speak on Den, as much as I love the meme about the finger in the mouth there, I do love, like, Leslie Grantham, despite his past, he seemed like a troublemaker. Like, he probably was a troublemaker.
I mean,
he probably had his...
He did kill a man.
Yeah, allegedly.
No, he definitely did kill the man. He served time and everything.
Where's the proof? I'm just gonna defend him like all them fucking. Is he a paedophile? Where's the proof? But yeah, he seemed like his demons caught up with him, and then like obviously Eastenders was a big enough role for him. And then he left and did fucking what the fuck did he do? He did something Island.
What was he not on Fort Boyard?
Yeah, Fort Boyard was the thing he was on. Famously, that's where I found out he did the murder, because like Adam Pacitti, whenever he would scream Fort Boyard, he'd go, "Yeah, Leslie Grantham, murderer." And I was like, "What? I just know him as Dirty Den. Who did he murder?" And they say, "Oh, right." Then I watched the soap story video, and then of course he comes back in 2003. You think everything's going to go smoothly, and then shit just falls off the rails behind the scenes because he's bad mouthing the actors and actresses. He's saying something about Shane Ritchie and Jesse Wallace. Like he's
a Sam Mitchell actress as well, just shit talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and in proper Den fashion, he just kind of goes, when you're doing something bad, but you keep doing it. Like you know it's stupid, but you just can't help yourself. That's pretty much how he described it in his autobiography. Why it's just like, well. Like he was just fixated by suddenly there was just porn everywhere. And he was a dirty old man.
So he really did become Dirty Den.
He did. He really did, to the core.
But like you can't hate Leslie. You can hate Leslie Grantham if you want, since he killed the person. I don't care. But you can't deny his impact he's left on EastEnders. He would have been the heart and soul had he been there longer. He was an impactful character. Don't get me wrong.
It's still mental to see how much he, like, how big he became in such little time.
Yeah,
he was there for 4 years, and then came back for 3 years. He was only there for 7 years. Like, it's
2
ridiculous.
years, wasn't it? 2003, 2005.
Well, I mean, like in total, he was there for 4 years. He was there 4 years at the start, and then he came back in 2002. Died in 2005.
2003.
Yeah, fair enough. 6 years in. But point still stands. In comparison, fucking Ian's been there like fucking 30 years. Phil's been there since the 90s. Like, it's fucking being pedantic on me over this. But no, he's actually there for 6 years. That doesn't fucking matter, really.
I'm defending
fucking stands.
I'm defending my Dirty Dan. But I love Dirty Dan. Like, he's impactful.
He is probably, next to Phil Mitchell, the most iconic Eastender like of like men, you know. And not a lot of people really get up there because, you know, they're like shown differently. But it was just, even his return, it's fun to see. It's fun to see the decline, essentially, where he's older now. He's not as fucking sprightly. He's fucking, like, he's just doing what he can. He can't just, like, fucking, he has to blag it all. He has to, like, play the part. He's not just going to fight you. He's not just going to win. Like, he's aged, he's grown, he's lived a different life than he has. And it was just, I just think that the return, as much as it's obviously just remembered for the controversy afterwards, like, it was a great way to figure out what the Den character had been doing over the time. And it's just really good. It's fantastic stuff.
Obviously, I just want to talk about, obviously, he's the only man who fought Phil and won.
Nah, it's not Dan Sullivan.
Well, it was Dan Sullivan, but it was also
Not
fucking Den.
Yeah, no, it was Dan Sullivan. Fuck.
Also Den, because Den fucking hit him with a chair. He didn't win personally, but he did outsmart Phil.
Yeah.
And not many people have outsmarted Phil. And that's why I love, it's a very weird tale, because I do like when he returned in all three, from what I've seen. But it's just, it's sometimes fact bleeds into fiction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the exit got overshadowed a lot.
Yes, because as someone put it, he got killed not because he killed a man. He got killed because he put a finger in his mouth and started wanking off as Captain Hook, which I love. I understand we're not supposed to talk about it, but I love it. I love it. It's like, okay, he's killed a man, that's fine. Wanking as Captain Hook, fucking die now. Get in that hole. Get in that fucking hole and don't come out. But yeah, I love Den. Like, whenever he goes, "Hello, princess," I'm like, oh, Den, fucking,
it
you can do whatever you want.
Doesn't hit as well as "Hello, Ma." It doesn't hit as well as that one, but it's still grand. Yeah, I suppose before we get to number one, I think it'd be interesting time to think of the characters who deserve to be on this list but haven't.
What's the guy who died in the chair in the first episode?
Reg Cox.
Reg Cox deserves
one
to be on the
character
list.
Who's been off this list, which is absolute crime, is obviously Nick Cotton.
Is he not on the list?
He's not on the list at all.
Have you seen number one?
Here. I have seen number one.
He's not on number one. Who the fuck's number one then?
Obviously Alfie's not on this list either, which, with the 2018 recency bias, probably can say that. Like, fair enough, but he still deserves to be on the list. Alfie's been involved in some of the more, like, main big storylines. Who else has been missed off? Dennis Rickman, obviously Den's son.
Sharon.
She wait and see, big man.
Oh no, she can't be number one.
Obviously we've missed off. I'd even put Jane, like Ian's fucking third wife.
Yeah,
like she deserves to be on here. I mean, Lofty's not on this fucking list, which is ridiculous.
Mary the Punk.
Sue,
Sue and
no, come on, you don't even like them.
I know, but
just because you like that one line they say. Ben Mitchell's nowhere near this list.
Oh no, please no, not Ben Mitchell.
Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah, he deserves to be there in some. I mean, obviously this was before his return. No, this was his return in 2019, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
But like, he deserves to be there in some capacity. I even put Billy on the list. Billy's not here.
Jay?
Maybe, I don't know. He would have to be like fucking like 35.
like, come on, let's just upset Ash here. What about Karen Taylor and Callum?
They had no place on this list.
Heather.
Shirley could probably be on here.
Shirley deserves to be on here. Tina, maybe.
No.
She went toe to toe with Ian.
Tina's fucking hot garbage.
Why did he kill her off? great. He's on a murder streak at the time of this list,
Huh.
or is about to be.
I mean, Denise or Kim could also be on this list easily. Like
Jack.
Yeah, Jack. Like, I don't know. There's some very strange misses, but one that definitely needs to be there is just probably Nick. Like, but also Roxy's nowhere on this list at all, which is actually fucking ridiculous. Like, how is Roxy not on this list? Sharon Slater, how's he not around here? Like, Martin Fowler's not that interesting a character, but I put him on this fucking list too. But there's a lot of very strange, misses. Like, would I replace Lisa Fowler with Nick Cotton? Yes. You know. But we've been here for 2.5 hours now. And it's time to unveil who is number 1 on the definitive ranking of the 35 greatest EastEnders characters of all time. Is it some people who haven't been featured much? Is it Alfie Moon? Is it Roxy Mitchell? Is it fucking Nick Cotton? It's none of these people. It's Sharon Mitchell as number 1.
Sorry, I'm breaking up.
He's just broken the fucking cameras.
Sorry, lost connection.
You fuck the cameras for a moment. None of that. None of that nonsense. We keep a steady ship going here. Didn't even build to it properly. So Sharon Mitchell's number 1, and is the definitive best EastEnder of all time, according to the Huffington Post. I don't fucking know about that one, Chief. Sharon is top 10. At best. She's top 10 at best. Sharon's not that good a character, lads. I don't mean to break it to you. Yes, she's campy. Yes, she's ridiculous. I'm sure she's single-handedly camped up gay Twitter and propped it up for years with how ridiculously campy she is. But she ain't fucking number 1. Like, what's she done for the bulk of the time being on the show? Yes, Sharon Gate, fantastic stuff, incredible. Okay, cool. Done. Perfect. Great stuff. Dan and Angie's kid, a lot of fucking issues, gets what she wants. Fine. Queen Vic Landlord, grand, great stuff, perfect. Like, her, fights with Peggy, fantastic. The Den Return, great stuff as well. But since she returned in 2010, she's been fucking shit. She's not done. Oh Jesus, fucking the Sun Gods aren't happy with this one. She's been. Fuck me, good lord! What the? Hello? What the? Have I? Has the camera just died? What's happened? What's the fuck's happened?
I don't know.
Better not have fucking died.
I don't know. He's been up
fucking taken out. I'm gonna carry on talking. Yeah, carry on.
Sorry, give me a second. Sharon just got the job to be number 1 on this list, but she just to be in the top 10 most EastEnders characters. But yeah, she does not deserve to be number 10. I don't know why she's number 1. I don't know why she's number 1. She should not be number 1. So yeah, why is she number 1 is my question. Do you know the answer?
Hold on, we're nearly back. I don't know. I can't tell you. I mean, I've been a notorious Sharon hater for like the bulk of my time watching the show. Fuck it, that sun's so unbelievably bright. Good lord. We just got zapped by the fucking sun god.
Jesus was upset with my comments.
Let's get that fucking thing back on.
Ooh. Oh, is he back?
Good lord, I got fucking sapped by the sun god. They decided that Sharon ruled supreme. If anybody's watching this till the end, fucking fair play. But yeah, that's kind of wild. That's great fun. They really didn't want Sharon to. It just went fully white, which is the ridiculous part.
It was like a building had just exploded.
It's just like, what the fuck just happened? Sharon doesn't deserve to be number one. I love the stuff from 85 to 95. I love the stuff from 01 to 2006. 2012 onwards, though, I do think the character's been in just a continual tailspin. And it's just fucking shit. She was, like, married to Phil, and she was dealing with Phil's alcoholism and, like, dealing with that struggle. But, like, number one. Like, nah. Obviously, and what she's been most done for lately is she's obviously been fucking known for the fucking Keanu storyline. Which has got to be one of the, like, massive fucking misuses of a character. And they kind of carried on a lot of dodgy stuff as well, because she's infertile, but she's had two more kids. Which is impressive. Infertile had 2 more children. And I don't know. I don't know why the camera looks about 10 times better than it did before. Look at this. I've made the setup better by breaking it. No, it's just, look, the Sharon and Dennis stuff, I love it. Dennis is the love of Sharon's life. That's completely true. But obviously when he died, she went, I'm not fucking staying here. And like, it was like a miracle of a fucking disaster, right? Dennis got stabbed as Sharon knew that she was having a baby, as like she knew she was pregnant. But yeah, it's just, number one is a massive shame. But I will recognize that once she gets a bit more... Once she gets given... fucking hell. If you give her something more interesting, which they will, because she's a part of the Six, and she's going to be a part of this big death storyline. Once they do that properly, she'll be risen back up to actually warrant being in this conversation for the best. But since she's been in this really garbage relationship with Keanu for like the last year, and then 2019 and onwards, and like her just continued shit relationship with Phil, like under the new writing, she'll be much better. But we've also had a year under this Keanu Sharon garbage. Which, you know, recency bias, true. But it's just not good. It's just not fucking good. I think that Peggy or Den would be better suited to be number one. In terms of impact and general, like, star power. But if Sharon's such a fantastic character, why has she been saddled with this shit storyline for, like, the last years? Like, I'd imagine she'd be like, well, no, why the fuck am I going to be with this character? Like, you want me to be with Phil? Sound, I'll be with Phil. But let me actually have a personality and fucking, like, you know, that's just my take on it. Like, Grant, them going, look, Grant, you're going to have this shit storyline. And then fucking, he goes, no, I'm not fucking doing that shit. Where's Sharon doing that? There we are. But yeah,
that has been our top 35.
Do you not have a take on Sharon?
I already gave my take.
Really? Did I just rant for too long?
When the sun gods came and took you, I already gave my speech.
Okay, fair enough. I was very distracted. I
Uh-huh.
suppose I'll read the actual description of this one. Saying, if Sharon didn't exist, gay Twitter would probably grind to a halt. Her facial expressions and glorious pout have been gifted up within an inch of her life, but there's so much more to the Queen of Walford than merely being a camp icon. Sharon began as a spoilt pawn in her parents' volatile marriage, whose best friend was Rolly the Poodle. As an adult, she's made some terrible choices, but Sharon is also a born survivor, who's much stronger than people realise. She won't get tangled up by both Phil and Grant for years, whilst also going toe-to-toe with Peggy and telling the tale. She left the show a couple of times in suitably exciting fashion, but Sharon is a big fan of a dramatic entrance. Or at least that's what it says in the Vic's toilet walls. Her best comeback was in 2001, where she swept back in looking sleek and glossy, triumphantly declaring that she was the new owner of the Queen Vic. As Sharon purred, "Hello, Peggy. Bet you never thought you'd see me again." In a lovely camp way. As her ex-mother-in-law, Snarl, said it all. Long may Queen Shazza reign over Walford.
And she will.
Yeah, apparently. Just in this list though, I would, we'd reserve this spot for, Den or Peggy, arguably, and that's the definitive list. Going through the definitive ranking of the 35 greatest Eastenders characters of all time. This has been a fucking long one. It's clocked in at 2 hours 43. Maybe I'll split it into 3 parts. Maybe it'll come out as one. Who knows? But as a whole, what did you think about the Huffington Post's ranking of the 35 greatest EastEnders characters of all time? Did you like it? Did you not? Tell us in the comment section down below. If you want to make your own list, probably not 35, bit much. Maybe top 5 best characters of all time. And we can see how many times Sharon comes out on top. But I have been Ash from Watching Walford. I've been joined by Piggy.
Yeah, I've been Piggy from Watching Walford. If you want some wrestling content, follow One More Match 182. If you want some of Ash's stuff, you can follow him on Twitter /X, Aqua Dreams Production, or is it just Real Aqua Dreams? Sorry, I'm confusing a bunch here. YouTube and Twitch at Aqua Dreams. And if you just want some of our nonsense, well, we're on Twitter /X at Watching Walford, Instagram at Watching Walford, Twitch at Watching Walford, and we are on YouTube at Watching Walford. And I just want to say this has been a fun 2.5 hours, but I'm very hungry. Yeah. And I don't know if we're recording after this, but I don't mind.
Cheeky little break, get some food in our system.
So yeah, I love this. This has been a fun video. One of our longest videos we've ever recorded.
Yep.
Now it's time to do top 35, 38 Christmas episodes.
Most evil
37.
Eastenders.
What?
35 most evil Eastenders. Number 5.
Number 5. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, I must bid you a farewell and a good night.
Have fun with it. Take your time. Feast it. Slowly pause and carry on. Could probably do chapters, but I'm a bit too lazy for that. So fundamentally, hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to see more, suggest videos, suggest comments. A lot of people have been leaving very cool ideas. It's just about finding the time and the extra effort to do them. So yeah, thank you for watching. We've been Watching Walford. Join us in the next one. Bye bye.